Greetings, Classic Cup Tournament anglers. We're about to start the 2024 Classic Cup season that brings with it some changes. Based on survey results from Classic Cup Tournament anglers this past season, we have returned to a two-day format with both the Pelican Spring Classic and the Cormorant Fall Classic. We continue with our catch photo release format where anglers will be anglers will submit their 6 largest fish for scoring. So, welcome to the 2024 FM Walleyes Pelican Spring Classic Rules Meeting. My name is Rick Mohan, and I will be your tournament director. I want to begin by recognizing the 2024 Classic Cup tournament sponsor. So let me, again, a typo there. Sorry, guys. This is the 2024 Classic Cup tournament sponsors. And again, I want to recognize Lund, Ray's Marine, Shields, Vexus, TRS, Kovash Marine, Vistos Trailer Sales is a new sponsor this year. Eskimo, Warrior, U Motors, Striker, Onyx, Vision Bank, and Chuck's Custom Rods. So again, please acknowledge those sponsors and support them as you're able. So this is the online rules meeting for the Pelican Spring Classic that will be held on Friday, May 31 and Saturday, June 1st. At least one team member should review this video by 5 p.m. on Thursday, May 30. Please note that the complete set of tournament rules can be found at fmwalleyes.com under the tournament section or the tournament tab. I will not cover all of the rules on this video. It is incumbent upon tournament anglers to know and follow the rules. So at this point, tournament anglers, we have a long tradition of remembering and recognizing old friends and tournament competitors no longer with us. I'd like to continue with that tradition with the short invocation. Gracious Heavenly Father, we celebrate another fishing season with friends and family, and we thank you for the many blessings that you've provided us. We thank you for amazing creation and the opportunity to pursue our fishing passions. We also thank you for the opportunity to come together for our 40th annual Pelican Spring Classic Walleye Tournament. We ask for your continued protection of the anglers and event staff. Please keep us safe as we travel and are out on the water. I take this time in a moment of silence to remember tournament friends and anglers whom you have called home to be with you. Amen. So let me start off with some general comments, folks. As I mentioned earlier, in 2024, we returned to the two-day tournament format. That was an overwhelming response from the survey we conducted last summer. Tournament HQ headquarters is at the U Motors parking lot just west of Zorbas, and I want to recognize U Motors for allowing us to use their lot. Coast Guard approved flotation devices must be worn when the boat is under power, that is on plane. Check for AIS when launching and loading your boats. No alcohol is allowed in your boat during tournament hours. Live and or artificial bait are permitted. Anglers must have a valid Minnesota fishing license. Anglers must follow all Minnesota fishing regulations. There is a 20-yard spacing between competitor boats. At no time may a competitor come alongside another boat during tournament hours. There have been instances when people have rendered assistance, and we would allow that, but please check in with the tournament director before doing that. We are not able to be everywhere to enforce this rule, so if you believe another competitor is too close, respectfully ask them to move away. Tournament patrol boats, sheriff patrol boats, and DNR boats are permitted to come alongside a competitor boat. Cell phone or radio use among competitors is not permitted. We have allowed anglers to bring along their cell phones for emergency use. We do reserve the right to inspect cell phone call logs of competitors while they're on the water. Anglers are permitted to call the tournament directors with questions or to request assistance. No fish are permitted in your live wells or boat. Please inform tournament staff if you see a floater. We will send a boat to recover that fish. You must use a judge brand ruler, and this is an example of an earlier version. There's a newer version out, but either one will suffice. But we do require a judge brand. This is an FM Walleyes branded one. There are non-FM Walleyes branded judge rulers that certainly are allowed and appropriate. As I mentioned, that if you don't have one, not to fear. We do have an inventory with the club that will be at the tournament, and you will be able to purchase one for $40. Um, from us on. We'll be there on Thursday afternoon and evening, or at the dock early on Friday morning. As I mentioned, rulers will be available for purchase at the dock on Friday. You must use a camera that accepts a standard SD card. I'll show you an example of that in a moment. That's the standard SD card. Our tournament permit only allows us to occupy 50% of the parking spaces at either boat ramp. So please utilize overflow parking at the U Motors lot next to Zorba's as necessary. And it's actually very convenient. I know many competitor or anglers, tournament anglers, choose to do that just because it's easy for them. So from a general schedule perspective, launching boats, boat inspection will begin at 6 a.m. at both of the ramps on Pelican Lake. So the DNR requires live wells to be empty before launching. So please leave your live wells empty until it's been inspected. And at that point, if you have live bait, we would allow you then to place that in your live wells. It is entirely possible that there would be state ANS inspectors at the ramps, so we ask for your cooperation with that. We've enjoyed pretty good relations with those folks. They get a sense of what we're doing quite often when they see you being inspected by us. They may want to do their own inspections, which is fine, and we have you would have to submit to that, but that's generally gone pretty well. So boats will be launched by team number, starting with team 1 on day 1, and then the launch order would be reversed on day 2. So flight times, again, you would pick up the scorecard, SD card, and packet. I'm going to go through that, what's in it, beginning at 6 a.m. at the U Motors dock, commonly known as the Zorba's dock, but that dock there across the road from Zorba's. So first flight boats will be released at 7 a.m. and the second flight of boats will be released at 7:30. First flight boats must return by 3 p.m. and the second flight boats must return by 3:30 p.m. So guys, depending on the number in the field, we may reduce it just to one flight. So there's still entries coming in as I'm preparing this video. And I will be actually publishing a preliminary roster here shortly, so you'll be able to review that. That'll be on Facebook, so you'll be able to receive that. You would learn your team number, and if I misspelled something or if there's an issue there, you would have a chance to correct it before the tournament. So boats are considered in if they are off plane and within 300 yards view of the U Motors dock at the designated time. I know that some people like to come in and they want to review their cards and all of that information, but if we can see you, you're in. So, within 300 yards and you're off plane. So boats start and finish the day at the U Motors dock, a facility next to Zorba's restaurant on Pelican Lake. And as I mentioned earlier, remote parking is at the U Motors parking lot west of Zorba's. So I want to take a minute to review a packet on the beginning day of each tournament at the dock. There'll be a packet with your team number. This is just an example of one that an old one. In that packet will be an info sheet, with just basic information, my phone number if you need to call for help or for questions. And then there will be a packet, a Ziploc bag rather, that would have your scorecard. It'll have a ribbon. You'll see the SD card, and it'll have a pen in there. So I would strongly encourage you to score your fish. When you measure your fish as you catch them, take the time to write it in on the card right then. And then, of course, when you come in, you have to select the 6 fish you want scored. That's for your job to do. Tournament staff won't do that. You need to score. You need to select that fish and then sign the card. We're gonna go with then a little bit more into reviewing and scoring fish. So under our rules for our tournament, all fish must measure at least 15 inches. So that means when you have the nose of the fish against the bump board, the tail must touch the 15-inch line. We don't care if you can't stretch them, but if you want to squeeze the tail, that's your call. The fish must connect with the bump angle of the judge ruler. You're allowed to round up to the next 1/4 inch mark of the index line the fish touches. So technically then the smallest fish that will be recorded is 15 1/4. So if you had a 15 or 14 7/8, rounding up to 15, that fish wouldn't be scored. Fish length is determined by taking a photograph of the fish on a judge tournament ruler. The fish must be oriented so that the head of the fish appears on the left side of the photograph and the dorsal fin is up. What we're wanting to do is make sure we're always taking a photograph of the left side of the fish. So fingers placed inside the gills of the fish during the taking of a photograph will result in disqualification of that fish. So you can't have your fingers inside the gills or mouth. So please take care in taking your photos. You may take as many photos as you need to feel like you have a good one. We do want or require that you take a hero shot between the fish you just determined and the next fish that is caught. So you can have a fish, holding what the tournament angler holding a fish. If you get where you throw the fish overboard, just take a picture of the angler or whatever and go, oops. So that way we know that you're scoring a new fish. Too much direct sunlight can wash out photos so that the ruler lines cannot be seen. So if we cannot verify the fish length from the photos that you supply, fish won't be scored. It'll be DQ'd. So take care. I mean, an overcast day, it's generally pretty easy, but like again, on bright sunny days, it can be more of a challenge. And that's all about orientation, where you have your partner or the photographer throwing a shadow over the top or over the photograph of the fish so everything doesn't wash out. It can be done. And actually, there are many of you guys that take really great photos. So my hat's off to you there. I'm going to take a minute here now to just, again, share the screen and show you some examples of photos that are problematic and that are good. So here's an example then of a good photo. And this is the orientation we prefer. You can see the fish is on the left side. Nothing is washed out. And as we look at these photographs on the computer screens, we have the ability to really zoom in. And we try hard to score fish. But at some point, it's just not possible. And again, that's just incumbent upon you providing us with a good photograph. But here's an example of, again, where the fish is rather the ruler is washed out, and we would not be able to score that fish. Here is one where the main issue is that you can't see the head touching the ruler. So that, in this instance, again, we wouldn't be able to score that fish. This would be one where the orientation isn't as we like it, in terms of we are seeing the left side of the fish, but a bigger issue is that it's upside down from our perspective. But then again, the ruler's washed out. That's the really significant issue here. So again, hands are not allowed in the mouth or gills when you're measuring a fish, and in this instance, that would result in a DQ. So again, another example of hands that are in the mouth or gills, that would result in a disqualification of that fish. So those are some examples then that many of you have seen in the past. I've used the same ones now for the last couple, three or four tournaments. So I think that's pretty straightforward. And at this point, we're going to introduce a short video segment that describes how we conduct catch photo release. Again, I want to thank Kyle and Brenton. They had prepared this video for the adult youth angler tournaments that our club also hosts. And but the points are relevant and are there. So with that, please view this attached video. Well, guys, that's really all we have for now. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. As previously stated, we will be using the U Motors lot west of Zorba's as the tournament HQ. The event trailer will be there. you know, I will be posting again a preliminary roster and probably a more final roster as we wrap that up, as far as the team numbers and all of that stuff. So anyway, hey, enjoy your holiday weekend, and I look forward to seeing everyone here real soon. Thanks.
Kyle Avery and Brenton Hall here of FM Walleyes. We are your Little Pine and Devil's Lake Young Angler Tournament Directors. We want to talk a little bit today about the catch, record, release format. Brenton, let's just talk a little bit about leading up to the tournament and the day of the tournament, how we are prepared for that.
So what you're going to want to bring with you on the day of the tournament is your red judge ruler. That is the ruler that we do use as the official ruler for our AYA events. Bring your judge ruler. We do have some available for you to borrow or rent during the events, and we have some available for purchase as well. Also, you're going to want to prepare for the event by having a camera that will put the pictures onto a standard size SD card, not a micro card, but we need that a camera that will put the pictures onto a standard card. From there, the morning of the tournament, we're going to deliver a bag to you at the launch, and that bag is going to have your SD card for that day. It's going to have your scorecard and a colored ribbon. Now you're going to need that colored ribbon to be in your picture, which Kyle's going to talk about in a minute, and you're going to use that SD card to record your pictures during that tournament day. And if you do want to do some practicing with our SD cards the night before at the rules meeting, we're going to have those available, Kyle, so that you can bring your cameras out, make sure they work on the cards, and plan and prepare for the next day.
Yep, we want to be prepared the morning of the tournament. Once we get out on the water, hopefully we see our anglers catching a lot of fish, and that's what we want to do. The intention of this tournament and this tournament format is to get the fish landed and in the boat, to get them measured, recorded, and released as quickly as possible. So the process is going to look like this. That walleye will first be taken out of the net and unhooked. We're going to lay that out on the judge ruler. We want a photo of one of the team members holding that fish on the judge ruler. Now it's important that we can see the nose of that fish touching the bump on the bottom end of the ruler, and then also where we can see the tail in terms of getting an accurate measurement and verifying that measurement. You can take as many photos as you would like. Once you get one you're satisfied with, then what we're going to do is we're going to take a hero shot. That indicates to us as tournament directors that we have the end of one fish and we can look for a new fish after that. A hero shot is simply a shot with one of the team members, preferably one who caught the fish, holding that fish. Once we get the hero shot, we immediately release that fish into the water, and hopefully that process is done as quickly as we possibly can. Once the fish is released, then we go into our scorecard, and we're going to write down the score, meaning the length of that fish, remembering that if the length touches a line, let's say it's 16-inch walleye, it touches the 16-inch line, we're going to record 1/4 inch above. So if it touches 16 inches, we're going to record that fish as 16 1/4. And we record it on our card at that point in time, and then we can go resume fishing.
At the end of the day, you're going to have hopefully a full scorecard, Kyle, of all the fish that you had enjoyed catching during the day. We need you to circle the amount of fish that we're weighing for that tournament. We need you to circle the ones you want us to weigh, to factor into your weight for the day, and we need you to make sure that the angler's name who caught those fish is next to that measurement, because remember, we do give out a special prize to the largest fish caught by a boy and the largest fish caught by a girl at our tournament. So we want to make sure that we know who to celebrate with those big catches for the day. And of course, if our adult angler catches one of the fish that we're going to weigh for that day, we still want that name on there too, so that we can use it for our results verification.
It's a fun way to do a tournament. It lets us to score all of the big fish we catch during the day, really in avoiding our slot limitations if we were to bring the fish into the boat and bring them up to a scale. It's important to remember, Brent, and one of the things we want to make sure our teams are aware of is that at no time are we allowed to put a walleye into a live well, into our boat. Our live wells need to be clean the entire day while we're out on the water. And as you are demonstrating, all of our participants need to be wearing their life preservers while they're out on the water participating in the AYA tournament. We wish everybody the best of luck. Look forward to seeing you there at the next AYA event.